completed watching the coolest and most exciting action film of 2024 in one go, Lights Out. A few people are playing cards when a man suddenly pulls out a watch, ready to join the gambling. The bald guy examines the quality of the watch and then pledges $200 to Michael. Quickly, Michael wins all the money on the gambling table with a royal flush. However, the bald guy believes he has Michael figured out and doesn't intend to let him take the money. Seeing his henchman defeated, the bald guy shoots into the sky, knocking everyone down. However, Michael, unfazed, points at the bald guy and claims back his watch, then calmly leaves the bar with his backpack. Max witnesses everything. Using the money he won, Michael finds a motel to stay in. He keeps replaying a scene in his mind every day, getting startled awake in the early hours. The next morning, Max finds Michael and proposes a collaboration at the door.
Hey,
I know you.
no, I just wanted to...
Max admires Michael's skills and sees that he clearly needs money. He offers to buy Michael breakfast and have a good chat. Michael opens the door, acknowledging Max's speech but not willing to collaborate because he doesn't want to be exploited. His country treated him the same way. Max persists and finally gets the chance to have breakfast with Michael. Despite all his efforts, Max cannot persuade Michael. However, when Max talks about his brother who returned from Afghanistan, Michael is deeply moved. Michael and his brother look almost identical, and his brother became strange upon returning to the country. Just when Max thinks time can change everything, Michael's brother commits suicide. Max believes his brother was ultimately consumed by emotions and assumes Michael is likely suffering from sleepless nights now. These words strike a chord with Michael, and after a brief contemplation, he decides to see what collaboration with Max entails. Max takes him to the outskirts where a group of people is making a lot of noise with money in their hands. Max approaches a limping guy, exchanges a few words, then looks at Michael. The crowd quickly disperses, and the limping guy explains the rules to two burly men. The winner lies in the hospital, and the loser ends up in the morgue. No other rules apply. The fight begins swiftly. The guy in the vest uses his agility to launch fierce attacks against the bald guy, boasting to the crowd. However, his attacks hardly inflict any harm on the bald guy. Soon, the bald guy seizes the opportunity to counterattack and knocks him down. Next up is Michael, facing a giant man standing at 1.95 meters tall. The significant size difference makes everyone doubt Michael's chances. However, Michael's attacks penetrate the opponent's marrow. And he quickly defeats the giant man. It seems like he is bidding farewell to the arena. Max decides to take in the homeless Michael. Meanwhile, Hira's boyfriend is rummaging through the house, suspecting Hira's daughter of taking his belongings. He accidentally slaps Hira and gets kicked out of the house. Max witnesses the scene, and Michael knocks him out with a punch. Tom, disheveled, is brought to a hotel and taken to meet Jack, the boss of the underground boxing gym. During their conversation, a woman is secretly observing. Clearly, the things Tom lost are crucial to him. The woman can't resist coming out and interrogating Tom, who eventually spills the truth.
It's at my girlfriend's house. We can go get it right now. We can get in my car and go.
Mary's talking about?
Please.
Good. We clean up the fucking mess.
On the other side, Michael gets along very well with Max's family and feels the warmth of a home. No longer wandering, he practices boxing at night. A girl mentions that the boxing gloves belong to her Uncle Max and claims that Max's left hook is even better than Michael's. All of this suggests that Max also has a memorable past. Max, burdened by debts, can only turn to Jack and requests a 3.1 odds match with Michael to repay his debts. The next day, they arrive at an underground boxing arena where two women are already fighting in an octagon cage. After the introduction, Jack is not optimistic about Michael. His opponent this time is a sinister-looking bald guy. The fight begins, with the bald guy taking the initiative, using his weight to push Michael to the cage and launching a fierce attack. Suddenly, Michael exerts force, trapping the bald guy's arm and pushing him back. The bald guy comes forward again, but Michael agilely dodges and finishes him with a left hook. They prepare to leave with the winnings, but Jack is not satisfied and wants Michael to fight again, this time against his strongest fighter, the big bearded guy. To entice Michael into accepting the challenge, they double the bet. Little do they know, they've provoked a wild beast on the verge of losing control. Back in the octagon, the bearded guy tests the waters with a leg kick, easily avoided by Michael. Subsequently, Michael kicks the bearded guy to the ground. They engage in close combat, grappling with each other, neither finding an advantage. As they wrestle on the ground, Michael seizes the opportunity to land some heavy punches. However, the bearded guy's flying kick rings in Michael's ears. Seizing the chance, the bearded guy feigns a move and knocks Michael down with a punch. Fortunately, Michael narrowly avoids a flying kick. The chaotic scenes of the battlefield replay in Michael's mind. He unleashes a barrage of punches on the bearded guy, losing control of his emotions. Fortunately, Max intervenes just in time, barely saving the bearded guy's life. Through the earnings from this match, both Michael and Max find themselves in a prosperous situation. Max also shares the reason why Michael chose to stay alone in Los Angeles. It turns out Michael's mother passed away a few years ago while he was on a mission, unable to attend her funeral. Therefore, he stays in Los Angeles to save money to buy a tombstone for his mother, providing her a resting place. The next day, a group of police officers arrives at Max's house. Ignoring Hera's objections and without a search warrant, they turn the house upside down but find nothing. Despite Hera's resistance, the lead officer, Wendy, threatens them before leaving. Soon after, Wendy receives a phone call, realizing that time is running out for her. Max and Michael return home to find the house in disarray. They angrily confront Jack, only to discover that Jack wasn't behind the police operation. They realize they will be in danger until they find the lost items. As they leave the house, they encounter Wendy, who silently stares at Michael. Without saying a word, she hands him a phone number and then leaves. Both understand that a confrontation is inevitable. That night, Michael dreams of the battlefield again, alongside his deceased teammates. In a desperate fight against over 50 armed enemies, his teammates get severely injured, leaving only him and Rooney. Overwhelmed by despair, Michael is once again startled awake. Hera, also suffering from insomnia, provides comforting support to Michael. The next day, everyone gathers, and it's evident that Wendy and Jack are the organizers of this event. The tensions between them are severe, especially after losing a significant amount of goods, putting Wendy in a crisis with an unfillable hole in his operations. He has been wanting Jack to take responsibility for this, but Jack seems to have his own contingency plans. As a police officer, Wendy has been involved in illicit activities like drug and gambling operations, while Jack has been secretly collecting evidence to safeguard himself. The fight begins faster than anticipated and concludes even faster. Only 3 rounds. The opponent is swiftly defeated and falls silent. Shortly after, a gunshot is fired into the air, prompting the crowd to disperse. It is then that Michael and his companions realize the defeated opponent was a police officer. They hurriedly escape, informing Hera to pack up as they plan to flee the city. The police quickly seal off the scene, and Wendy seizes the opportunity to issue a wanted notice for Michael and his associates. When Max and Michael return home, Hera and her daughter try to inquire about the events, delaying them. Suddenly, a speeding car arrives, and someone opens fire. Hera's daughter is unfortunately shot. An ambulance arrives quickly, but Michael and Max choose not to accompany them to the hospital. They have more pressing matters to attend to. Michael, fully aware of the overwhelming power of his enemies, seeks out his brother in arms, Rooney. Initially, he only intended to obtain some firearms from Rooney, but unexpectedly, Rooney has brought a substantial amount of equipment in his car, ready to face life and death alongside Michael once again. The 3 of them arrive at Jack's territory, unaware that they have already been targeted. Upon entering the house, Rooney takes the rear guard position and is promptly ambushed by a group of armed individuals. A fierce gunfight ensues, with the enemies having heavy firepower. As they advance, a close-quarters battle breaks out with Rooney displaying agile moves and easily defeating one opponent. However, running out of bullets, he engages in hand-to-hand combat with another enemy, giving the enemies a chance to regroup. Despite retaliating, Rooney gets shot multiple times. The external firepower intensifies, suppressing them indiscriminately. Max, after taking down a few enemies, also gets shot. Kaiser seizes the opportunity to replenish ammunition and deal with the remaining enemies. At this moment, the sinister Wendy appears. She kills Jack and others before stepping outside with a gun pointed at Max, forcing Kaiser to surrender. However, Wendy's excessive talking proves fatal, as Max, who had prepared a bulletproof vest in advance, shoots and kills her. Unfortunately, Rooney isn't as fortunate, and Michael bids farewell to his last surviving comrade. After reuniting with his family, Hera's daughter wakes up. At this point, Michael is destined to embark on another journey, as this country no longer provides a refuge for him. Michael fulfills his wish to erect a tombstone for his mother. The film concludes. Thank you for support, and we have daily updates on the latest movies. Until next time.